What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we go over Joel Klatt buying into the hype for Michigan football here, entering the 2025 season, when he was talking about buying and selling 5 teams in the country, and Michigan was one of the buy teams. As we go over that, and also an update on Bryce Underwood, the clear favorite at QB1 currently. Also, Rod Moore spoke on his recovery at the 3rd annual Champions Circle golf outing on Monday, along with some defensive line players talking about the defensive line and defensive line coach Lou Esposito, and also some more intel from the golf outing on Andrew Babalola, Shamari Earls, Donovan McCauley, Marlon Klein, and many others. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so to start this video, I first wanted to start by talking about Joel Klatt. As everybody knows who Joel Klatt is, Fox analyst, has his own college football show, of course, and he did talk about Michigan football being a buy in the 2025 season, as he is buying into the hype for the Wolverines this upcoming season, as he listed 5 teams who he thought were buys, and then also 5 teams who he thought were sells entering the 2025 season. And Michigan came in as a buy, and for many of the simple reasons that we've talked about. He said, Michigan went 8-5 a year ago, several close games coming off that national championship run the year before, but when you think the way they ended their season, he said, you can make the argument that outside of Ohio State winning the national championship, that Michigan had the best end of the season. He said, of the teams not in the playoff, Michigan had the best easily last month of the season of anybody in the country. The Wolverines, they beat Ohio State, they beat Alabama, went on a 3-game winning streak, and they also obviously were able to flip the 5-star quarterback and talent out of Bryce Underwood. And Joel Klatt has said that before in the past, that Michigan had the best end of season outside of a team like Ohio State winning the national championship. But then he obviously talked about the schedule in the Big Ten. Michigan doesn't play Penn State, they don't have to play Oregon, they don't play Illinois, they don't play Indiana. Their toughest games, again, is at Oklahoma week 2, then they play at Nebraska week 4, then at USC, Washington at home, and then against Ohio State as well, home for that one though at the end of the season. And he obviously talked about the elite Michigan defense, which he believes Clemson and Michigan will have the top 2 defenses in college football next season, as he talked about Wink Martindale obviously turning it around towards the end of the season, especially in the games against Indiana, Northwestern, Ohio State, and Alabama. The Michigan defense really turned it around, and as long as they continue that, which they should be able to do, they're returning a lot of talent defensively. And then obviously we've talked about the defensive line, which should be one of, if not the best defensive line in college football. They got a 10-man rotation, but then you obviously got the new revamped offense and a new quarterback out of Bryce Underwood, who is a true freshman, most likely going to be the starter come week 1, but they obviously do have Mikey Keene in there who will be pushing him as well. But obviously he's been dealing with an injury this offseason and didn't get as much reps as Bryce Underwood has gotten. So all in all though, Joel Klatt believes that this will be a bounce back year for Michigan. He said, watch out for Michigan. I think that's a bounce back, and I believe that's a buy for next year. Michigan is a buy. So let me know what you guys think about that. And I mean, like he said, there's a lot of reasons to say why Michigan is a buy going into next season. It's not only the defense that they have returning, the elite defense they'll have, but then you got the new quarterback room and a much better offense, which we saw the offense last season. Even with one of the worst offenses in college football, they were able to beat teams like Ohio State and Alabama, and then also the favorable schedule, and more so the favorable Big Ten schedule they have this season. But I also wanted to give an update on freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood, as Matt Zenitz of CBS and 24/7 Sports recently talked about Michigan quarterback Bryce Underwood recently on the 105 with Andrew Ivins and Cooper Patagna, and Zenitz said that, Bryce Underwood is the clear favorite to start at Michigan, and he said everything that I've gotten from Michigan sources throughout the offseason has been beyond terrific. His advanced maturity, level, and leadership characteristics for someone that young have impressed people at Michigan. He said it's not common for someone at the stage of life that he's at to be as mature as he is and be as much of a natural leader as he is. And when you combine that with his rare physical ability, he's positioned himself to be the heavy favorite to start at Michigan this year. He said the future is extremely bright for him at Michigan based on what he has done behind the scenes, and there's a lot of internal optimism about him and what they can do offensively as a team. And he's also earned the respect of his teammates as well. So absolutely cannot wait to see Bryce Underwood out there in this new Michigan offense under new offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey. And then we recently did give an update on safety Rod Moore. Rod Moore also did speak for himself, and he gave an update. According to Kellen Voss of Maize n Brew, he said it's kind of little bumps in the road that I had through my recovery from the start. It's kind of taking longer than expected, but I think I'll be ready for the season this year. I'll for sure be playing. It's just a matter of how long it takes me to get back. He did say that he's probably about 85% right now, and again, he said it's just a matter of how long it takes me to get back to 100%, but he does definitely plan on being out there this season, as it is just a matter of time before he gets back out there on the field and in the Michigan secondary. So that's what Rod Moore had to say, according to Kellen Voss of Maize n Brew. And then also, Champion Circle held a golf outing with the players and boosters at the 3rd annual Champion Circle golf outing on Monday. That's where Rod Moore spoke, and it's also where other players spoke as well, as some of them even praised Lou Esposito, Michigan's defensive line coach, as Michigan defensive lineman, according to Anthony Broom of On3 and the Wolverine. Rayshawn Benny, Trey Williams, along with Derek Moore, stopped by and discussed a whole bunch of stuff. Now, Derek Moore, he told him that, I've been around a lot of guys in that edge room. I just sat back and just watched and learned a lot from them. I said I still talk to a lot of those guys, and they give me a lot of feedback on what they saw from me and things like that going into this season. But now he has a chance to lead that edge group along with TJ Guy on the other side. Rayshawn Benny is another one who is ready to step up and lead the Michigan defensive line. But Benny, when speaking on Lou Esposito, he said, I'd say he brought a developed mindset. When I think of him, I kind of think about like multiple coaches. He said he kind of reminds me personality wise of my first coach, Sean Nuya. Then he has the coaching style of Mike Elston. So just being able to take away bits and pieces from him, he's a good person and a great coach. And he is always the one to bring around the energy. His energy and attitude he brings to work just stands out. And also some more tidbits from the golf outing, according to Chris Ballas of On3 and the Wolverine. First, freshman offensive lineman Andrew Babalola. He said he is an incredible specimen. Hard to believe he's only 18 years old and he's an absolute rock. Doesn't look like he has an ounce of fat on him. And also edge Derek Moore looks NFL ready. Trey Williams brings a Kenneth Grant vibe with him. Also a little update on Davis Warren, as it appears that he looks ahead of schedule. He obviously tore his ACL, but he actually did play 9 holes of golf and is doing everything he can to get back and add to the competition in the quarterback room. And also Bryce Underwood said what a specimen he is. And they also asked him what the craziest thing he'd seen on social media, and obviously the obvious answer was that he's fat, as obviously some rival fans started to say that Bryce Underwood was fat on social media, which he certainly is not. But that was obviously pretty funny right there, as him and his teammates laughed. Also a little bit more, Michigan tight end Marlon Klein did say he's ready to pick up where Colson Loveland left off, as it's his time to shine now, obviously. And then also Shamari Earls did say that he hopes to live up to the number 2 jersey legacy, which is Charles Woodson's number, obviously. And Rod Moore corrected him and said, there is no hope, you will, confidence, which is pretty cool. And then also Shamari Earls did say that Donovan McCulley was the toughest cover on this Michigan team, obviously, with the 6'5", long and great catch radius that he has. Going to be a great wide receiver target for Bryce Underwood or whoever is quarterback out there. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I really appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.